What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's video we're taking a look at the newest generation Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat. Of course this one's a wide body finished off in Octane Red Pearl coat. Big shout out and thank you to Carolina Auto Drag for providing this insane looking Hellcat for today's video. Take a look at their website, link down below. Now a car like this in today's market is going for around $92,000 with nearly no miles. So let's get right into this American muscle car. Underneath the hood of the SRT Hellcat, you're going to find a 6.2 liter supercharged Hemi V8. This 8-cylinder pumps out 717 horsepower with 650 pound-feet of torque. It's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission and sends all of that power to the rear wheels. With a curb weight around 4,600 pounds, it can still do 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds and top out at 196 miles per hour. It runs on an 18.5 gallon fuel tank and you're looking at 12 miles per gallon in the city with 21 out on the highway. The overall length is 201 inches with a wheelbase at 120. Width is 78.3 and height is 57.6 inches. And then now moving on to the exterior styling with Dodge's newest Charger Hellcat. This is a super bold looking muscle car and this color really stands out. We get a very nice set of LED headlights. This also has LED DRLs all around it and you can see some black trim in the center. You also get a massive opening in the center of the grille with a huge vent down below that to allow a ton of cooling to this 8-cylinder motor. We get your SRT Hellcat badge on the one side and a lot of nice body contours to give it a muscular appearance. You get a pretty large chin spoiler down below and then even more functional openings to allow as much cooling as possible. I think it really does come together nicely and even years later, the Charger Hellcat is still a great looking car. We have a functional intake duct right in the center of the hood along with 2 functional heat extraction vents, and I just love the power dome design on the top of the hood to let you know there is something special underneath. Really bold lines all around it. And as we make our way to the side profile, you can see the wide body, which are these huge fender flares, giving this a super unique design. We also get a set of 20-inch wheels up front with a 305 tire. And then we also get these 6-piston Brembo brake calipers up front with 2-piece ventilated and slotted rotors. Really good looking design all around. And we of course get that Hellcat badge up in front. There's a sharp line all around these doors and then a nice side skirt that blends into the wide body flares. This also gets a set of body colored door handles and body colored mirror caps with all black trim around the windows, and then we have a sunroof up top with a shark fin antenna. The Charger is a pretty large sedan, probably one of the biggest ones out there, so it has a huge hood and then the trunk is equally as large. It still does have a really nice proportion all around, and I am a big fan of just the overall styling. The wide body in back, you can see those huge fender flares and a nice sharp line cutting through the rear end. You can also see a trunk mounted lip spoiler finished in body color, and then we have more of the LEDs for the taillights. They have a really nice design with this huge barge wrapping from one side to the next. We get Dodge written out in the center with your backup camera, and then the SRT Hellcat logo on the right with Charger on the left. To the left of the bumper, you can see a trim piece along with all of your parking sensors, dual exhaust system, then a plastic black color for the diffuser. I think overall the styling comes together really nice, and in back it looks fantastic. And with your SRT key fob, you have the black one, and then you're also going to have the red one as well to unlock all the power. Go ahead and lock it, and then double tap on the start stop button. It's going to remote start. That is a really good sounding car, has an awesome sound to it. Keeping the key fob in my pocket, I can just grab the door handle, it'll automatically unlock, and we can check out this interior. So this is a all natural genuine leather interior you're gonna find. Beautiful option with a lot of black color as well. Taking a look at the door panel, you can see all of the black with some contrast stitching up on top, your release handle with memory seating, and then all the really nice leather for the door insert. Get some padding on your armrest as well as a grab handle, window controls and mirror controls with lock and unlock, and then a lot of storage down below. And then moving to the seats, you get some power controls on the left side along with lumbar support, and then contrast stitching as well as a pretty cool stitching pattern. You can see all the perforated leather in the center, And then more of that stitching design up on the side bolsters, huge SRT Hellcat logo embossed into the leather itself. And then we get a black leather steering wheel with perforated leather and some dark gray trim. And then now inside, keep my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and fire it up. Taking a look at the gauge cluster now, we get an LCD screen in the center, your tach on the left, as well as the speedometer on the right. This center screen, you can configure it using the buttons on the left side of the steering wheel. Right now you can see your digital speed readout. If I scroll into menu number 2, you can scroll left and right and see all sorts of different vitals within the car, which is a really good touch, especially with this kind of horsepower. You can continue down into your performance. You can see your G-force meter, a few different lap histories, top speeds, things like that. 0 to 60 timer. Then we have a few more for fuel economy, not that it's too important with this kind of car. And then all sorts of different other things of information that are going to come up. You can also see on the steering wheel we get SRT. We have cruise control settings on the right with a few Bluetooth controls on the left. And there are some steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. They're only a couple inches tall and they're only on the top side. Underneath them there are buttons for the radio. Then we have the windshield wiper control on the left. And then down here we have all of your headlight controls, interior dimming, and then your trunk. And this has a carbon fiber package. You're gonna see this beautiful satin carbon fiber along the entire dashboard here. Has a really cool look. You get this rubber material with some stitching all around the dash, as well as an SRT logo on the far right side. And then taking a look at the screen, you can see all of your climate controls are very simple in the center. We have different media icons, more controls right here for heated and ventilated seats, as well as your steering wheel. We have all the apps as well that are going to come up. You can scroll left and right. If we go into your performance pages now, you can see a lot of things that come up, like your horsepower and G-force meter. You can go into all of your different timers within the car. You have different gauges as well to monitor everything. We have your G-force meter in a large screen, your engine dyno. When you give a little bit of gas, you can see things change. And then we also have another dyno in a pretty cool graph. If we exit out of here, we have the SRT dashboard you can go into. You can adjust your launch control setting. You have performance pages there. You have different line lock, things like that. You have launch control activate, your shift lights you're able to adjust, the race cooldown, and you can also back out of here and go into your different drive modes. You can adjust everything from how your power is going to be. With the black key, you're only going to get 500 horsepower, so you'll need the red key to activate everything. But you have a few things you're able to adjust, like suspension as well as steering. We also get settings within the vehicle. And then going into reverse, you're gonna get that backup camera with decent graphics, so not too bad, at least for an older car. Down below this, you can see a lot of controls. You have a shortcut to that SRT page, launch control, and then all of your physical climate controls will come up down here, volume as well. We have the red start button. You can see a little bit of storage, a 12 volt, and then more of that really nice carbon fiber all throughout the center. We have a cool looking old school design for the shifter with a manual mode. You can open this up for a little bit of storage as well as cup holders. Then we get more black leather and stitching, and then quite a lot of storage space all underneath with a few different auxiliary plugs. Taking a look at the glove box now, you have a lot of space in here as you would expect. And then one last look at the interior. While this is a pretty dated interior, having the genuine leather on the seats, all of this carbon fiber along with the Alcantara headliner is actually a pretty nice place to be. We get that sunroof shade, garage door openers on all of the buttons, as well as a dome light, and then a sunglass holder up in front. And then moving on to the rear seat space, if I grab the door handle and open it up, door panel is finished off just like we saw up front, and then the back seats even get the same design along the leather with all the perforated leather seats as well. You can see we do get some storage behind these front seats, along with heated rear seats, climate vents, and then USB ports. And then these seats, you can grab the handle up on top, and they're gonna fold down nearly flat to just give you a little bit more storage. All right, so sitting in the back of the Charger Hellcat, so at 5'11", I'm sitting back here with so much space. This is an insanely usable and practical sedan. I have plenty of headroom. Legroom, even with the driver's seat set at my height, is pretty good. There's no armrest in the center, which is kind of a bummer. However, you got a lot of space. Good armrest on the left. So much glass in here. This is genuinely a fantastic family car. If you need to put kids in the back or even grown adults in here, I mean, this is a really practical car, especially when you have the power as well to have a little bit of fun. And then now moving on to the trunk space, you have a button on the back you can press. It's gonna pop open the rear trunk. And then we have a lot of space in here. Like we saw, this is a huge sedan. You have an ample amount of cargo area in here to really use this as a pretty good family daily driver. And of course, with those seats folded down, you're gonna have even more storage space. From there, you can just grab the handle and close it up. All right, guys, so we are setting off now in the Hellcat. This is a pretty cool car. For being so big and so heavy, it actually feels decently pinpointy. We're in track mode right now, so the magnetic dampers are tightened up. The steering is a lot more heavy and responsive. It's actually a fun car to drive. So we don't have the red key, unfortunately, in today's test drive. However, with the black key, the acceleration is decent. I mean, it's certainly not a fast car at all. It's peppy the way it sits with this key. The red key definitely opens it up to where you have a really good amount of power. It's still not the fastest car out there, especially for having this much horsepower. Just being the weight of it, you know, there's a lot of other cars with 700 horsepower that are going to be significantly faster. So if you're used to this power level, this is going to feel a little slow to you. However, it doesn't take away from it being a quick car. I mean, it's clearly a fast car, obviously. As far as normal driving, if we go down into just auto mode, put us into automatic mode, the car tones down so nicely, and I really like how it honestly turns into a luxury car. While being so big, obviously it'll never be a pinpointy, nimble toy car like that. This is always going to be a big vehicle. Normal driving, you have a great windshield, huge hood you can see. I mean, you know you're in a big vehicle. All the mirrors do a great job letting you know what's going on. And over your left and right shoulder, quite honestly, visibility is fantastic. It's a car you can genuinely drive like it's a luxury car. It's comfortable to be in and just really relaxed. You would normally think, and even with the red key, it's still insanely relaxed just like this in auto mode. It really can be just a normal, basic, big sedan. So I like that aspect. The technology obviously is pretty dated. However, you really do get everything you need, and it's easy to use. The graphics are good enough. So it's still a pretty modern feeling car. I think especially if you get the leather interior, the carbon fiber, and the alcantara, it genuinely makes this interior feel really nice. If you get a basic one with cloth interior, I think it just feels old and outdated. But with the premium interior, this one is a fully spec'd car. It's actually a nice place to be. Now, as far as some fun factor, once again, even with the black key, it still is a pretty well-balanced car. It needs this kind of power to feel fun just because it weighs so much. But you can actually throw it around, and it still sounds so good. You got that supercharger whine, that rumble from the Hemi. I mean, this is a fun car to drive. I'm not the biggest fan of muscle cars like this. However, it still is a blast, and I can see why people want something like this. All right, so my honest thoughts in the Hellcat. So even with the black key, obviously not all the power. 500 horsepower in this car is okay. It basically feels like what you would think a sporty car like this would feel like. The red key obviously opens it up. I've driven the red key cars, and it's definitely a quick car. It's fun to play with. Just like I said, if you're used to really fast cars, you know, this kind of power in a heavy car, it needs a tune and a pulley. Make it about 800 horsepower or so to the wheels, and then you are seriously talking, which is easy to do. A tune and a pulley, and this thing will really throw you back in your seats. But I am warming up to these Chargers. I kind of like the Charger better than the Challenger. I think this design, it just looks so good. And it's surprising that this is basically unchanged since the Charger came back out, I don't know, 20 years ago or whenever the heck this thing came out. And the revision they've made over time, it still is a nice car. I love the way they look, and I think this is going to be such a timeless design. And it's probably part of the reason why these are going for crazy money. I mean, this is over $90,000. This is a pretty penny for a car that, as a base, is pretty old. However, I think this looks so good, and over time just is always going to look really cool. And having that that old school muscle car aspect to it. This is a true old school muscle car. big supercharged V8, big car, practical, all that stuff. I think that's another reason why these are going to hold value over time, because they don't really make them like this anymore. While for $90-something thousand, you can certainly get a nicer car. You can get maybe a BMW M5, which is going to have the all-wheel drive. It's going to be faster than this because you're actually going to get traction all the time. You're going to have a refined, modern interior. There's other cars that technically are better than this for the same money that personally I'd probably buy. However, if you're a muscle car fan, these American muscle cars, nothing competes. There's nothing that stacks up to a muscle car in that sort of aspect. It's just a unique type of vehicle, and I can see the appeal. It's fun to drive. You can make stupid power. I mean, honestly, with the red key, bolt-ons, tunes, E85, you're talking 1,000 horsepower car with not really spending too much. So it's a very capable vehicle to make insane power. As long as you have insane tires to be able to put that power to the ground, I mean, you're gonna be able to use all this power. And the fact that you can actually genuinely tone it all down, and it feels like a luxury car. It's comfortable, it's smooth, it's quiet in here, it's roomy. There's a lot to offer with a Charger Hellcat. I don't really have many complaints aside from the fact that it's not quite my taste. I like much lighter weight cars that are more nimble and fun to drive. However, for being so big, this actually is quite impressive how pinpointy it can feel, and I wouldn't mind taking this on a mountain road trip. I think it's got wide enough tires and a good enough suspension to handle the weight. So I think Dodge has done a great job with these Chargers over time. I'm excited to see what the next generation is going to be. What are they going to do? I hope they don't really make it all EV. I think that would absolutely ruin it and make these go up even higher in price, just because this might be the last real muscle car. So we'll have to see as time goes on. I hope they continue the legacy of the Hemi supercharged V8. And if you're looking for a muscle car, I think this is one to get. If you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for plenty more content. And then a big shout out and thank you once again to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this muscle car for today's video. Check out the link to their website, link down below, and I'll see you all in the next video.